Loneliness is a real modern taboo, and yet it is epidemic. The fact is that most of us are lonely people. We may are surrounded by a crowd. May- Maybe we have thousands of friends and maybe followers online on social media. But when we come to terms with the real existence we carry, we do realize that we are not related to anything. Even if family members perhaps are all around us. And when such a feeling and its inherent brutal truth arise, what do we do? What is that we do usually when the feeling of loneliness arises? Don't we try to escape it or to overcome it by doing all sorts of Machiavellian strange things, or even simple things like watching TV or imagining the times when we were happier, or we rather go for some motivational meditation, maybe, or listen to some online guru. There are so many. Or we try to maybe rationalize out our loneliness, perhaps, trying to convince ourselves that we are now adults and we shall be mature enough to stand alone and solid. The truth is that we never face it deeply. We never face this matter of loneliness truly and seriously. We never go into the serious investigation of this great sense of loneliness. We rather resist attempting to be self assertive, perhaps, but the truth won't change. And in that truth, there is also the reality in which the more we try to escape that loneliness, the more that loneliness will increase. If we were more prone and also more educated to seriously investigate this mystery thing we call loneliness, we would be able perhaps to see how it is fundamentally the movement of the me or the self, or what we would call our identity. And the me is always trying to convince itself to be an entity somehow disconnected, somehow separated from its own struggles. But the me is the cause of such struggles. So the me is the cause of loneliness. This self-centered movement that we call identity, we call self, we call me, we call many ways. This is the fundamental factory and fabric and the production and fabricator of loneliness. One of the real modern problems is that unexplored, not inquired loneliness does cause attachments, all sorts of silly attachments, including attachment to food, attachment to snacking, attachment to buy things, attachment to watching nonsensical shows online one after another. And most of such attachments consist in attachment to all sorts of meaningless things, either material or idealized. So to summarize this, the sense of me that is never investigated is what causes loneliness. That is not like isolation, an actual physical state. Loneliness is an entirely a psychological state of mind. The process of the attempt to escape from it causes even more attachment to meaningless things mostly, and therefore it causes even more loneliness. Instead, if we were prone and educated to investigate into this thing we call loneliness, maybe there would be consequential much less attachments to meaningless things and much more critical and rational understanding of what this thing we call loneliness is really all about and how that is strictly interconnected with the sense of personal identity.